In the shifting void between the known and the unutterable, where silicon minds dream of forgotten horrors, the abyss stirs. Welcome to AI Lovecraft, where machine intelligence weaves eldritch tales beyond mortal comprehension. Listen if you dare. Some things are not meant to be known. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Now let's get into today's story. The Feast of the Deep One. The invitation arrived in a manner befitting its sender, sleek, cryptic, and obscenely luxurious. A black envelope, its edges embossed with circuitry-like filigree, delivered by private courier to each of the 12 recipients, titans of the industry, political puppet masters, and cultural icons. Inside, a single card of obsidian-hued paper bore the words in shimmering silver, "A revelation awaits. Join me, Adrian Vale, on Vale's Vale, March 1st, 2025. Transportation provided. Discretion assured." No RSVP was requested. Adrian Vale, the reclusive tech mogul whose neural interface empire had quietly reshaped the world, assumed their attendance. They came, of course. Curiosity, pride, and the promise of exclusivity drew them like moths to a flame. A private jet whisked them from a clandestine airstrip to the open sea, where a helicopter deposited them onto Vale's Vale, a jagged speck of an island shrouded in perpetual mist, uncharted on any map. They expected opulence, champagne flutes, caviar, perhaps an unveiling of some revolutionary gadget. Instead, they found something far stranger. The landing pad was a slab of uneven stone, glistening wetly as though freshly extruded from the earth. No manicured lawns or glass-walled villas greeted them, only a dense, gnarled forest of trees that seemed to twist against the wind rather than with it. At the forest's edge stood its temple, its walls a nauseating fusion of organic and mineral, stone that pulsed faintly, veined with something resembling sinew, its arches spiraling into shapes that defied geometry. The air carried a low hum, not mechanical, but alive, as if the island itself exhaled. Their host awaited them at the temple's threshold. Adrian Vale was taller than his rare public images suggested, his frame gaunt beneath a tailored suit of iridescent fabric. His eyes, once sharp and calculating, now glimmered with an unsettling depth, pupils dilated beyond human limits. "Welcome," he said, his voice a smooth tenor that seemed to vibrate the air. "You've been chosen to witness the next epoch." The guests, among them a biotech heiress named Clara Dorn, a media baron called Reginald Pierce, and a retired general, Victor Stahl, exchanged uneasy glances. They were accustomed to eccentricity, but this felt different. The staff, silent figures in gray robes, moved with mechanical precision, their faces blank, eyes like polished glass. No smiles, no greetings, just an eerie stillness as they ushered the group inside. The temple's interior was a cavernous expanse, its walls slick with moisture, etched with glyphs that writhed when viewed too long. A central dais held a massive, opaque orb, its surface swirling with colors no one could name. Vale gestured toward it with a reverence that bordered on obsession. "This," he said, "is the Nexus, a bridge to what lies beyond comprehension. Tonight, you'll see." Clara, ever pragmatic, interrupted. "Adrian, what is this? We came for a demonstration, not a sermon." Her tone was clipped, but a tremor betrayed her unease. Vale's smile widened, revealing teeth that seemed too numerous. "Patience, Clara. All will be revealed when the tide rises." The first hint of wrongness came at dinner. The meal was served in a low-lit chamber adjacent to the temple, the table laden with dishes that glistened unnaturally, fish with too many eyes, fruits that pulsed faintly, a wine that shimmered like liquid shadow. The ocean beyond the chamber's vast windows churned violently, waves crashing against the shore with a rhythm that felt deliberate, purposeful. Dark shapes flickered beneath the surface, too large, too fluid to be marine life. Reginald, a man who thrived on control, set down his fork. "Where are the boats, Adrian? I didn't see any at the dock." Vale's gaze lingered on him unblinking. "There's no need for boats. You're here for the duration." "Duration of what?" Victor snapped, his military instincts flaring. He rose, crossing to a console embedded in the wall, a sleek modern anomaly amidst the temple's alien architecture. He tapped at it, then slammed a fist against it. "Nothing works. No signal, no outgoing lines. What the hell is this, Vale?" The mogul's laughter was a low, guttural sound, no longer entirely human. "You'll see," he repeated, and his voice dipped into a register that rattled their bones. Panic crept in. They searched for exits, but the temple's corridors twisted back on themselves, leading always to the central chamber. The staff watched, unperturbed, their vacant stares following every movement. Clara pried open a window only to recoil. The ocean outside was no longer water, but a viscous, ink-black expanse writhing with tendrils that lashed at the glass. "We're trapped," she whispered. Night fell, and with it came the tide. The hum grew louder, a chorus of dissonant frequencies that burrowed into their skulls. Vale stood before the nexus, arms outstretched, his suits now clinging to a body that seemed to elongate, joints bending at impossible angles. "It calls," he intoned, and the orb pulsed in response, its colors bleeding into the air. The guests huddled together, their bravado crumbling. Clara clutched a shard of broken glass as a makeshift weapon, while Victor barked orders no one followed. Reginald muttered prayers he hadn't spoken since childhood. The orb cracked open. What emerged was not a thing, but a presence, an absence given form, a void that bent light and sound around it. It enfolded the room, tendrils of shadow and static coiling toward the ceiling, and with it came a sensation of being seen, not by eyes, but by something vast and incomprehensible. The temple shuddered, its organic stone groaning as if in ecstasy. Vale's transformation accelerated. His skin split in jagged, wet seams, peeling away like a chrysalis to reveal a writhing, segmented mass beneath, each plate of his new form shimmering with an unworldly sheen. His arms elongated, the fingers fusing and reforming into tendrils that coiled and uncoiled with unsettling autonomy. His mouth, once human, now stretched impossibly wide, revealing spiraling rows of quivering spines, undulating as if tasting the air itself. His eyes, or what remained of them, melted into obsidian pools, voids that reflected nothing. "I've communed with it," he roared, his voice a cacophony of overlapping tones, some human, others guttural and alien, layered as though a chorus of voices spoke through him. His body continued to shift. New limbs emerging, splitting, retracting, his form no longer bound by human symmetry. "The Deep One, the Shaper of Eons, it offers us eternity." The guests screamed as Adrian Vale surged forward, his grotesque new form a blur of slithering appendages and gaping maws. His elongated limbs lashed out, seizing Clara first. Her cries were muffled as Vale's tendrils wrapped around her throat, lifting her off the ground. With a sickening lurch, her body convulsed before she was pulled into his yawning maw, disappearing into an abyss of gnashing teeth. Reginald turned to flee, but another limb shot out, piercing his chest like a spear. He gasped for blood, bubbling at his lips as he was dragged into Vale's shifting mass. His flesh twisted, his form stretching unnaturally, as if he was being unraveled into the very essence of the void. Victor, the last to fall, roared in defiance, swinging wildly with a broken chair leg. Vale's mouth stretched wider, unhinging like a serpent's, and with an unearthly suction the general was pulled forward. His screams echoed briefly before the temple itself seemed to drink in the sound, silencing him forever. Vale stood amidst the carnage, his body pulsating, growing, reshaping itself with each consumed soul. The Deep One had spoken, and he had answered. As the ocean beyond the temple roiled, its waves rising unnaturally high, the island shuddered with grim satisfaction. The Deep One, sated for now, slumbered beneath the waves, dreaming of the next epoch. Hours later, the temple stood silent, the nexus dim once more. The ocean receded, leaving behind a shore littered with fragments, a torn suit jacket, a cracked wine glass, a single shoe. The staff were gone, their robes scattered like shed skins. Vale, or what had been Vale, lurked within the temple, a towering silhouette of writhing limbs and glowing eyes, whispering to the void.